Breaking news. World War II shock. New book claims Italy might have stolen Nazi V-1 rocket technology. A new book has revealed how Germany's most important ally during World War II, Italy, might have stolen Nazi V-1 rocket technology with the intention of creating a game-changing weapon. The book also details an Italian warship that was due to carry the Nazi-designed V-1 rocket that caused terror in the UK during the Blitz and this new secret weapon. From 1941, Italy had been developing a top-secret project to install guided rocket weapons aboard aircraft carriers. Campini Capron's revolutionary guided rocket weapon, the DEC, which would later become Hitler's Henschel HS-117 Schmetterling, Butterfly, was the selected projectile. Classified intelligence on the V-1 flying bomb and other aircraft projects were acquired and then discarded when Ansaldo's naval architect, Lino Campanelli, 1911–1975, issued plans for the Impero battleship to be transformed into a modern fleet carrier. The new revelations come in Davide F. Jabes and Stefano Sapino's new book, Aircraft Carrier Impero, the Axis Powers V-1 Carrying Capital Ship, which is published by Fonthill Media. The introduction to the book reads, through original and unpublished documents, sources have been found regarding the transformation of the battleship to aircraft carrier, how it was conceived in order to accommodate jet propulsion weapons, and that both the German V-1 and the previously unknown Italian DEX, experimental rocket-propelled weapons from 1940, had been taken into consideration for this purpose. While studying the documents, we found a complete lack of collaboration among the Axis forces. This was just another demonstration of how the fascist regime was unaware of military problems before the conflict began and subsequently was entirely incapable of adapting to the evolution of wartime events. Campini had collaborated with the German firm Argus until 1939, working on the development of jet propulsion aircraft guided by radio. The cooperation ended after the start of the war, however. Some of the Argus projects did come into effect in the Phi 103 known as the V-1. Prior to 1940 in Italy, Campini developed the DEC, acronym for Dispositivo Antiaereo Campini, a rocket propulsion weapon with anti-aircraft goals. The weapon was radio-guided and was experimented in 5 units in April 1940 in Libya, Tripolitania, against captive balloons, with success. The Ansaldo designers immediately recognized the excellent potential of the DEC as an anti-ship weapon. Its range was larger than the big-caliber guns and it could be launched from simply modified naval gun carriages, big or medium units. It also had the ability to be radio-guided and its speed made it much more interesting, in terms of damage caused, than the naval shells. The explosive charge was, also in the light version, 5 times greater than the charge in one 381mm shell, but obviously with very different penetration capabilities. The loaded weapon weight, approximately a half of a 381mm shell, made it easy to be moved on board. However, securing the engine's liquid fuels on board still remained a problem. Impero, meaning empire, was first used in November 1939 and expanded an impressive 790 feet long and an underwater width, or beam, of 104 feet. The sizable engines had a top speed of 30 knots, an approximate of 35 miles per hour. However, Impero was never completed due to Italy's involvement in World War II, which instead divided their attention to carrier warships. The Italian Navy, Regia Marina, were substantially weaker than that of the enemy, so their focus had to be adjusted if they were to make an impact in the fight against Germany's power. This was the final Italian battleship to be built as the construction focus later directed to fleet aircraft carrier which would pave the way for the next age of battalion defenses. Following Italy's surrender to the Allied powers on September 8, 1943, Impero was captured by the German forces and sunk by bombers in February 1945. This was not the end of Impero's legacy however, as she was brought back to the surface 2 years later to be scrapped. You can read more about Impero's unique history, which demonstrated a U-turn in Italy's wartime focus, in Davide F. Jabes and Stefano Sapino's new book, Aircraft Carrier Impero, The Axis Powers V1 carrying capital ship, RRP 21 pounds, published by Fonthill,